Hey all, it's Elma with the Cat's Pajamas, and today I want to show you how to create these cute little gnome treat pouches. These gnomes are great for any time all throughout the year. And I'll be making these 5 gnomes to show you how easy it is. I've used the Cat's Pajamas beard die to cut beards for each of these gnomes. I'm also using our wood grain stencil to add texture to the beards by dry embossing. To dry emboss, just set up your die machine as if you were going to use an embossing folder. In my case, I start with the base, an acrylic plate, a metal shim. You can use a couple of pieces of cardstock if you don't have the shim, and an embossing pad. Place the cut beards on the embossing pad and place the wood grain stencil on top of them. And the second acrylic plate. Run through the die cut machine and you have the stencil embossed on the beard. If you have a Fiskars Crimper, you can use it, but you don't always have to use it. There's a way around it and I'll show you how. First off, take a 6 by 6 inch square of cardstock and use double-sided tape along one edge. I'm going to show you a faster way later on. Remove the backing from the side opposite of the adhesive and attach, lining up the edges. Place the edge of the paper into the crimper and crimp about a 1/2 inch. Now open the tube and fold down the crimped edge of paper. Place more adhesive inside one of the open ends and press together, making sure that the crimped end is not in the center. Place that end in the crimper and crimp about a 1/2 inch, just like we did with the side seam. Now we'll do the opposite side. Place adhesive in the opening, add the treat, and close the opening so that the corners are centered with the bottom flap. Then crimp the top. Now you can see the gnome taking shape. The flat bottom forms the body of the gnome, and the top, the gnome's hat. Now let's decorate. Take one of the embossed beards that we did and attach it to the bottom part of the gnome. Where the mouth is on the beard, that will be where the nose of the gnome will be. The mustache part of the beard will be the eyebrows. I've die cut the nose from pink fun foam using our Rudolph die, but you can use an oval or even a circle punch to create the nose from paper. Since this is a Christmas gnome, I think I'll add a felt poinsettia to the hat and top it with a button. And here's the finished gnome. Now if you don't have a crimper, here's what you do. Start with a 6 by 6 inch square and place adhesive on 3 sides, forming a U. And burnish the adhesive well. Take the backing off the adhesive at the bottom of the U and add a line of quick drying glue like art glitter glue. That will ensure the treat holder will stay closed if the tape fails. Now line up the adhesive edge to the opposite edge and fold the flap over and burnish really well. Remove the backing from the bottom of the tube and don't forget to add that line of glue and line up the edges, making sure that the previously closed edge is not in the center, and press closed and burnish really well. Add the treat and do the same to the top of the tube as you did to the bottom, adding glue and lining up the edges and giving a good burnish when you're through. Make sure that the corners of the top flap line up with the center of the bottom flap. And gnomes don't have to be plain. Add embellishments like these metal signs I dug out of my stash. I want my gnome to hold the sign, so I'm placing his beard a bit higher on the holder. And I'm adding a red nose. I think I want to make it look like he's holding the sign, so I'm punching 2 black ovals and folding them in half and gluing them to either side of the sign and attaching with hot glue. A little plaid bow to decorate his hat finishes off this little guy. Now Halloween always has really great paper and embellishments, so why not make a Halloween gnome? Start with the same 6x6 paper and add double-sided adhesive to the back of the paper, forming a U. Remove the backing from the bottom edge and roll over the edge to meet the opposite edge. Insert the crimper and crimp about 1/2 inch. Fold over so the crimp edge is flat along the tube. Remove the backing from the adhesive from the bottom of the tube and press flat. And crimp. Make sure the crimped edge is not in the center. Now the reason you do this is because if it's in the center, then it'll be on the corner of the top gnome and it forms kind of a messy edge. You can kind of see it on this gnome. I placed the long crimp just slightly off center, and you can see the flap overhanging in the back even after the final crimp. Now add the beard, and I want to add these cute googly eyes. But first the nose. For this guy, why not a big scary black nose? He is a zombie after all. A zombie gnome, if you will. And then finally the eyes. I'm going to add a little hot glue to the back of the eyes in addition to the adhesive that's on it already, just for more sticking strength. And here's what the final gnome looks like. I might add a spider or something else to this guy later. But how about a springtime gnome? This one uses bright happy paper, a buffalo checked bow, and a felt flower embellishment I got from Daiso. Yay for buffalo check. I think it goes with anything. Lastly, another holiday gnome, not using the crimper. From craft paper, I've cut a panel for a message. I'm using the sentiment from our Gnome Peeking stamp set, which I've cut in half, and I'm using VersaFine Clear in Nocturne to stamp it on the panel. And I want him to hold the panel, so I need 2 black ovals that I'm attaching to the panel. Now for the gnome. You know the drill by now. 6x6 inch paper, double-sided adhesive forming a U. Bottom of the U attaches to the top of the U. Don't forget the glue. Line up the top edges and burnish. Open the tube, fold the adhered edge over. Open the tube, take the backing off the adhesive, and add glue. Press together. And don't forget to add the candy, because I forgot to. And then close off the top. Remove the backing from the adhesive from the top of the tube, add glue, and press flat, making sure the long edge isn't in the center of any of the seams. And burnish, burnish, burnish. Add the beard and the nose, this time punched in red using the same punch I used for the hands, and fold the hands in half and add to the body. And as a finishing touch, add a sweet seam binding bow. And that's it. It's just so easy to create gnome treat holders for every holiday or just because. I hope you give them a try. Have a great day.